A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Glory to you, O Lord. While some of the people were speaking about how the temple was adorned with costly stones and votive offerings, Jesus said, "All that you see here, the days will come when there will not be left a stone upon another stone that will not be thrown down." Then they asked him, "Teacher, when will this happen? And what sign will there be when all these things are about to happen?" He answered, "See that you do not be deceived, for many will come in my name, saying, 'I am he,' and the time has come, but do not follow them. When you hear of wars and insurrections, do not be terrified, for such things must happen first, but it will not immediately be the end." Then he said to them, "Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be powerful earthquakes, famines, and plagues from place to place, and awesome sights and mighty signs will come from the sky. Before all this, however, they will seize and persecute you. They will hand you over to the synagogues and to the prisons, and they will have you led before kings and governors because of my name. It will lead to your giving testimony. Remember, you are not to prepare your defense beforehand, for I myself shall give you a wisdom in speaking that all your adversaries will be powerless to resist or refute. You will even be handed over by parents, brothers, relatives, and friends, and they will put some of you to death. You will be hated by all because of my name, but not a hair on your head will be destroyed. By your perseverance, you will secure your lives." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. One of the most common of human emotions is anxiety. Anxiety about the future. I think it would be safe to call it a universal emotion. At some time, and to some extent, everyone wonders and worries about tomorrow. Our lives are lived within 3 dimensions of time. Each of us has a past that we remember, a present that we experience, and a future that we anticipate. And we can no more eliminate anticipation of the future than we can blot out our memories of the past. They are both part of our lives and must be included in the experience of today. Most of us do fairly well with coping with the past. But what about the future? How are we to deal with the all-important dimension of life? Tomorrow is out there. We know that it's coming, and we can't help but to think about it. The question is, what should be the nature of our thoughts? What can we actually expect from the days and the weeks that lie ahead? The Bible doesn't give us any pat answers to those questions. It does, however, offer some guidelines that should enable us to anticipate tomorrow with a firm faith and a realistic hope. Our gospel reading tells us of a time when Jesus talked with his disciples about the future. The conversation took place almost 2,000 years ago, and the details are long since outdated. But the insights which Jesus expressed are timeless. And you and I would do well to apply these same principles to our own concerns about the future. The first is, we can expect uncertainty. Uncertainty. Or to put it another way, we can expect the unexpected. When Jesus foretold the destruction of the temples, the disciples asked two questions. When will this occur? And what will be the sign that it's going to happen? In light of the discussion, these two inquiries are certainly understandable. Had you and I been there, we probably would have sought the same information. But the significant thing is that Jesus did not give a direct answer to either question. And that is how it is with most of our inquiries about the future. The Bible gives us some broad hints. Science may make some educated guesses, but absolute answers are not to be found. The plain truth is, we just don't know much about tomorrow. But honestly, how much would we want to know? It's always more fun watching a movie for the first time. Something is lost when we know in advance what's going to happen, watching it again or again. Would you enjoy watching a football game if you knew the outcome from the beginning? Different emotional experience. A large part of the charm of life is locked up in mystery. Out there in the future, we can expect the unexpected. And for that fact, I think we can all be grateful. The second thing that we can expect is change. It must have been quite a shock to the disciples when Jesus predicted the destruction of the temple. For centuries, that structure had stood at the center of their culture. They could not imagine living without it. And there was Jesus saying, not a stone will be left upon another, it will be all torn down. Now that prediction proved accurate. In less than 50 years, the ancient temple was gone and has never yet been rebuilt. From that, the disciples learned, and we need to learn, a vital lesson. Namely this: nothing stays the same. Nothing stays the same. As someone once said, in this life, the only constant is change. The days come, the days go, and little by little, our familiar world goes with them. Change is simply inevitable. The third thing that we can expect in the future is trouble. Jesus pulled no punches in talking with his disciples. He told them that there would be wars and earthquakes and plagues and famines. He warned them that they would be arrested and persecuted and even put to death for their faith. Now, some regard this reading as the gloomiest statement that Jesus ever made. But no one can deny that it was true. And therein lies the element of mercy. It would have been a cruel thing for Jesus to have promised them clear skies and smooth sailing when they're following him, when he knew that they were headed for a storm. At least this way, the adversities and hardships did not come as a complete surprise. I think we need to apply this wisdom to our own lives. Let us begin with the assumption that life in this world is essentially difficult and sometimes tragic, then at least we'll be dealing with reality. If we start by assuming that the ideal life is soft and easy, we're going to be bitterly disappointed. Now, to say this is not pessimism. It's reality. When we think of the future, we should expect trouble, because it's going to come. And we had better prepare ourselves to deal with it. Then there is one final statement that puts all the rest in perspective. It is this: when we think of tomorrow and all of our tomorrows, we can expect the presence of God, because God will be there. Jesus told his disciples that when they were brought to trial, they should not worry about their defense, because he would give them the words and the wisdom which their adversaries could not contradict. In other words, he was saying, you will not be alone. I will be with you. This promise belongs to us just as surely as it belonged to the disciples. We face an unknown future in a troubled and changing world. But of this we can be certain: God will always be there. However long we live, wherever we go, whatever we encounter, God will be there. And that is something we should not forget.